if you're watching this video, then that means tomorrow my company Alphalete turns 10 years old.
10 years ago, you decided to start your own athletic wear company for you and your friends, essentially. You were going to put yourself, hide yourself as the owner. What do you think would have happened had you gone down that route?
In the early days of Alphalete, before it was even launched, I was really debating on one of two things, really coming out and owning the fact that I was the founder and I was the person designing the clothes and I was the person, just being the face and owning that versus being like a behind the scenes business guy that just really worked in darkness and was able to kind of grow a brand and all of that. But it's interesting because that first choice of like, okay, am I going to start this company this way or that way? That thinking and that decision that I made to go ahead and embrace it was sort of like the kickoff to a very transparent type of relationship I built with my audience. And even though it's something that I was just debating in my head, like this or that, whenever I came out and told people that, I was actually thinking about keeping it quiet, but I just wanted to let them know my thinking out loud. I wanted to explain my thinking in the process. It's like, you know what, you guys have, for the first 3 years of me having this YouTube channel before Alphalete, you guys have like been everything. The comment section, like anytime I meet anybody in person, it's just been like so incredible and motivating in this. And I felt like I was going to be lying to them, and so I don't know, that first step of just being super open, I think really has paved the way for any decision I have to make moving forward regarding, whenever shit hits the fan with Alphalete, if we fuck up like this or the shipping or if we have a faulty item, we have to it's taught me to own it and to really just be upfront with everybody, you know? So it's kind of like the foundation of what the company was built on was that very first decision of, do I own it or do I want to be like a secret in the shadows kind of guy?
Right. I think that was also like a very fork in the road moment where ever since then, like you said, it kind of set the trend for the rest of anything bad or good happening. You had to talk about it. And I think that was one of the reasons why Alphalete, first of all, succeeded so much was because you never had a CEO/founder peel back the curtain and involve in the process. How important do you think it is to truly believe in yourself by even bringing people into the process before you even get to the results, before you even see the results? Because that could come back and bite you in the ass.
I don't know. It's easy to look at things now and be like, oh, I had so much faith in myself, confident in this. But like really, I was just going off of proven data. Like in my head, I had launched CG Fitness clothing, and that was already a big risk for me when I ordered the 50 tank tops and printed on American Apparel. But then every single time I dropped every few months, like the order quantities would get a little bit bigger. I would maybe add a style. I would add a hoodie. I would quote this proud but never satisfied saying. I would kind of like start evolving those launches, and those little things sort of built my confidence. It's not like I was just like, I'm going to run and start this company. Everyone's going to get behind it and it's going to be successful. Like, no, not at all. I actually started tiny and just micro like gains to kind of lead me to the point of, I remember we were doing a CG Fitness like on a launch day. Once we were already like pretty established and I had a few SKUs and everything that I was launching, it'd be like an $8,000 day in sales. And I was just like, wow, this is pretty crazy, right? But at the time I had seen Max start Ever Forward, and he actually manufactured his first shirts overseas. And I wanted to bring that material with a different fit. I didn't like his Ever Forward fits that much. I wanted to make some tweaks, but I wanted something similar and custom. And I knew that if I just put a name behind, like a name that wasn't Christian Guzman Fitness or CG Fitness onto the clothing, I had a hunch that people would bite. I had a hunch that it would be, man, maybe instead of $8,000 in sales, maybe like more people would want to buy it. It's pretty logical thinking, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the first launch. It was in February, 10 years ago, and I was actually at Disneyland with Gymshark, and I was launching, and just on my phone casually. We were pulling up to the park, and I'll never forget. We were getting in line to get our passes at Disney World, and we went live. It was like 10 a.m. And then it was 10:02 a.m. And we were at $57,000 in sales in 2 minutes.
Holy shit.
And the first thing I did is I called my dad. And I go, Dad, all those boxes that just got to the house, can you start laying them out? Because I'm going to come home and we need to start packing right now. I was not ready for that at all. And I believe I made my flight come up sooner. I booked it home. And then me, my dad, my mom, and like 4 to 5 friends got together and just started printing labels and started shipping everything as sloppily. We just had stacks on the floor of like the orange coral shirt, the green shirt, the purple shirt, and just organized them to the best we could and just started hauling ass to package everything, which was wild. And that same day, I ended up staying that whole day in California with Gymshark. And I remember I ran into Rob Bailey and Daniel and Bailey, and they had Flag Nor Fail, which I was already looking at their YouTube videos because she had just done her like daily vlogging prep for the Olympia, and their videos were like high quality. I was like, damn, I would love to like make some high quality videos like that. That's so cool. And I remember just talking to Rob and telling him, hey, I like literally today I launched my brand, and he's like, yeah, like what are you, how are you doing? And I pulled up my Shopify, and it was $127,000 at that point. It was like later on in the afternoon. Yeah. And he goes, you did that today? I'm like, yeah. He's like, and I don't remember much. I just remember like being so like, I couldn't believe what the fuck was happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's just some memories from there. But I was never just like, let me start this brand because it's going to be super successful. It was like literally micro steps that kind of, and then once I was already kind of, I'm pretty confident people would invest more and be more willing to wear this if it wasn't my name on their chest. That's all that decision was.
Right. They could be not necessarily fans of Christian Guzman. Yeah. Like you were limited by CG Fitness.
Exactly. And pretty much the Alphalete messaging was just like, I was super, back in 2012, 13, 14, in 2015, I was the guy that was waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. to grind and get work done, and just I was listening to motivational, people speak, and I was listening to just like that's all I would listen to on my jogs, in my workflow. I'd be motivational speeches, this and that, Les Brown, E.T. the hip hop preacher, like all these guys, and it just really started like instilling in me like you have to become more, you have to work on getting better, and I feel like that's what I was already kind of messaging. The messaging of the CG Fitness brand was like that. So it was like, how can we repackage this same exact direction in something bigger? Into a brand that has more potential.
Yeah. With the branding and messaging, how do you think that has changed over the years with social media growing into the monster that it is now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that things seemed super simple back then. I don't think that they necessarily were super simple, but I think that it felt simple because it was just me. It felt simple because I wasn't looking at analytics. I wasn't really, the truth is like I was just being authentic, and anything I kind of posted, there'd be like a result. And I just sort of leaned into that. And I don't know, I remember pretty early on, I think Learn More, Dream More, Be More became something like by the second or third year in business. That's when we kind of adopted that. But at first it was just Alphalete. Don't be an athlete, be an Alphalete. That was like the main thing.
Yeah.
It was take the word alpha, you take the word athlete, combine it, you get Alphalete, leader of the pack. Literally, I'd just gotten Nala back in 2013, and she's literally in my lap right now. She's thundering, and she's terrified. You can probably hear her breathing, but she was really the inspiration behind like my branding. And nowadays, it's so like wild in social media, but I was just like, I'm going to have a husky. She's going to live with me in my college dorm room. I'm going to raise her. I'm going to build my brand off of like alpha, the word alpha. Got to get a husky. Like she's a leader. She's a wolf,
Yeah.
And modeled my logo after her. And yeah, just sort of use that general alpha word and like, you know, looking up the definition and just like wolves and that kind of concept to create the brand.
So it's almost like back in the day, you almost stumbled into success. Like you didn't know any better.
Yeah,
There's no
100%.
risk or anything.
I do feel like back in the day, I kind of stumbled into success. And all I knew was just got to keep showing up, got to keep, you know, take it one at a time, take the first launch at a time. And if it goes well, then you'll think about what to do after that.
Did you ever what were your main stressors at that point? Did you have any stressors?
I don't know that I really had stressors back at that point. I mean, obviously, like, I know that my main stress was that coaching was driving me crazy, bro. I was online coaching and I didn't do email. I still to this day hate email so much. Everyone at Alphalete can attest. I hate my email. It's too much for me to deal with. So I just had my clients use my phone number, and I hooked up my iMessage on my computer because I thought it was like a hack, bro. I was like, man, no one knows they can text on the computer with iMessage. So once I figured how to link my phone onto iMessage, I was like, I'm a fucking monster. I'm responding to everybody so quick. And that was my method. I made great money, but it did reach a point because I didn't want to say no, because this is the first time in my life I was making money. And for most people, the first time that they make money, like, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're going to do it till you can't do it anymore. I'll type till my fingers fall off. You know what I mean? That was sort of the mindset, because it could all go away at any moment.
Right.
It was sort of the thinking. So coaching was honestly just driving me crazy. Like, I remember one time I was ready to throw my phone at the wall because it would keep just going. I would never stop. As soon as I got caught up, it would just come back. And I guaranteed 24-hour responses for people. So I couldn't just leave them like unread.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I was just getting I knew I didn't want to continue coaching forever. So I was really kind of hoping that Alphalete would let me be able to at least start saying no to some people and just like minimize my clientele list.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that within a year of Alphalete dropping, I had completely wrapped up my coaching.
Wow.
Because I was able to.
Right. But you still had to eat shit for a year.
Yeah, but I had to balance both for a year.
That's pretty popular nowadays with people having a 9-to-5 and still trying to chase either internet success or anything for them to work with themselves. How important do you think, and like that's a tough overlap, right?
Yeah.
It's a really hard overlap. How important do you think that is, that overlap?
Oh, the overlap of like what you want to do versus what you have to do is always going to be there in life. Just in my opinion, now that I've kind of lived a few different eras, I guess, at first it was like, okay, first it's school and this YouTube thing.
Right.
How am I going to balance that? How am I going to do it? And then it was, okay, now I've got my coaching gig. I guess I've already, my fear of leaving school is now completely washed away because I'm already like living what I wanted to set out to do. I wanted to make 6 figures, and I was doing it when I was 19 in the back of the college dorm or college classroom. And then the next era was like, okay, how do I balance my coaching? It's just eating my time and my stress, and like I felt like I was just always on. How can I make a living doing something that different, right? I love the content, so I want to keep doing that, but that led me into the Alphalete. And then all at the same time, I've always wanted to have a gym, and I was almost like missing that. So I failed at my first gym. I've been very open about that. In 2013, I had to shut it down because I just didn't know how to hire people. I thought I could do it on my own. I thought I could put a lockbox outside and people would just like, respect that. And I don't know. I didn't have security cameras, bro. I just like winged it. But and even now it's like, okay, I'm in this era today, I'm really looking at where am I most effective and where should I really be putting my time, and how can I offload a lot of the things that I
have to do?
That I have to do, but maybe I'm not so good at, and I can find people better than me, right? So now I'm trying to really lean into how can I get back focused on my YouTube as my main thing and be able to like staff and, build my workflow and work charts and employees to be able to, funnel up to me and stuff like that. So it's always like there's always a overlap of the thing you dream of doing and the thing you have to kind of do right now. And you're going to have to balance them at any moment.
So you're saying scale. To this day, you're still going through that.
To this day, I think everybody does.
Yeah. And I think that's important to speak on because people can see you, see your success, like, oh, he made it, he's done, right? But everyone, I think that's kind of speaks to wanting to become more every single day is that you're never satisfied with where you are. There's always something to reach forward to, and with that comes that transition period, which is tough. It just comes with the territory. Going back, so we're still in chapter 1. Last bit of chapter 1 at the beginning. Grass is always greener on the other side, right? When you were starting out, you wanted success, and you have success now. What's something now that, looking back, you miss about that?
Something now that I miss when I look back at or think back to like chapter 1 of Alphalete would be just honestly, I was truly just making a product that I really wanted to make and was interested in making. Like I didn't even start women's till like 3 years in, I believe.
Wow.
It was like maybe towards the end of year 2, but I was like, why would I make women's? I'm a guy. You know what I mean? I want like fitted shirts. I don't want them to, I want them to last longer than the Zara shirts that I keep buying, because I would just go to Zara and buy the same like long length, tapered body, raw cut sleeve shirt, and it would just not wear well over time and wash. And I wash my clothes like shit and still do, but they just wouldn't last. So I wanted to make them that would last with better material. I wanted to make the sleeve shorter. I wanted to make the body a little more tapered, a little bit less long, and just like making items that I really wanted to make. I wanted a cool looking athletic hoodie, so I would focus my effort and time on that. And now, I mean, now we're about to drop 62 new styles, 240 new items in one drop. Like, that's such a bigger scale than what it was back then. Back then it was, okay, we'll do one t-shirt in 6 colors or a t-shirt, and you know what, we're going to introduce a hoodie in 4 colors. So it's like, that's 2 styles versus 62 that we're doing now. So it's just like, I was really, at the time it felt super stressful. I was like, man, I got to really nail this t-shirt. And I mean, it's almost like, it's crazy that over a decade we've built the infrastructure and the people and the teams, and just to be able to go from making a t-shirt that honestly was okay, you know, and whatever, but
still gets referenced to this day.
Yeah, it still gets referenced to this day, but now we're creating so much. I feel like we're so much better at doing what we do now, and we've just leveled up so much. Though, like, we get feedback that a lot of the old classic styles, which we're hearing that feedback and bringing a lot of that back in now. And I can just imagine, I can already see in this next year, the next 2 years, when we bring back that kind of just simplicity to the brand with the firepower that we have now, like, the future's exciting as hell.
Right.
You know?
So, to summarize, you miss which part of that?
What I miss most, I think, is just really it was almost like carefree. It was like, oh, I don't need to do a lot. I'm just going to do a hoodie. What do you mean? I didn't know that, you know, I guess I didn't know the upper limit of what things could get pushed to be. So it's almost like I just kind of made what I wanted at my own pace.
Right.
And I will say what's still nice, though, is after 10 years of being in business, we've still never took in a dollar from anybody. We've still never had any sort of partner. There's nobody that's controlling or pulling strings or telling me you can't do this or you have to do this. You have to meet these numbers. You have to, fuck off. Like, we're still solo venturing this entire thing. And to me, I'm so proud of that in a weird way. And that's not weird. It's just, I don't want to come off like I judge people if they take partners or if they take investment or capital or whatever to expedite and grow the brand super quick. But I just never wanted to do it. My dad taught me, don't ever take a dollar from anyone, and I guess that just stuck in my head because I just would rather do it at my own pace even now than like, let me fast track this and let's expedite and let's like this. I just never trusted people like that because I don't know. I really think my dad ingrained that in me. Like, don't ever take a dollar from anyone. There's always strings attached.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have seen and heard a lot of stories of friends or whatever, like kind of experiencing things like that. And it makes me super proud of like the 21-year-old me that didn't know what the hell he was doing, but was willing to go at his own pace. Yeah. And instead of like trying to let anyone impact that or alter that mindset.
Alter the vision that you have for the brand. Going towards chapter 2, how does it feel? What were your thought processes as you just described, why would I make a women's item, to Amplify being the thing that blew Alphalete up the way it did? How did you consolidate those two visions?
I'm trying to think back to what really made me want to do women's.
Oh yeah, what was the first women's piece?
The first women's piece, very first thing is we printed on I went back to my guy, Paul at T-Shirt Depot, right? Because after I was already custom making a few men's pieces, I just wanted to test the water with women. So we made some like American Apparel or some crop tops that we printed on right down the street from Alphalete actually. And I ordered some Bella and canvas leggings, and we had printed like the wolf badge on the back, and then we did a variation where we put Alphalete Athletics down the leg. And I just wanted to see like if women would buy. I had a girlfriend at the time. She had some social media, and I don't know if that was a reason or if I'm not too sure why I wanted to start it, but I remember like, I guess maybe looking at Gymshark, they did women's, right? They were killing it with women's. I was like, oh, I think I could do some women's, just honestly. Yeah. And so from there, my first custom pieces were actually made from a factory that I was working with. They had sent me, here's what it was. They came to visit me to show me like more products that we could do. Like, so a lot of times when you work with a factory, they will, in their best interests, they want to come and show you, hey, you're selling through this stuff. We could do this for you. We could do bras like this. Tell me any changes you want. We could do tank tops. We could do leggings. So this guy, he brought over like 3 massive suitcases to my office, and he stayed for like 3 days, and we just like really looked at things. And I really liked a bra. So we did a bra, we did a tank top, and we did, I believe, like 3 tops, right? And I got to custom pick the colors. I got to alter the design. I got to like sample them. And then I got to finally launch them. And when I launched them, I sold 3 bras. 3 bras. And I just remember being like, man, I think this was a pretty big waste of time, investing in this women's stuff. And fast forward, but it's odd that I didn't give it up, even though we did so shit, now thinking back on it, because fast forward a few years and we came out with our first ever seamless legging, the Revival legging. Now we're coming out with Revive, but at the time it was Revival. And the whole concept was, I'm going to call it Revival because the women's range is fucking dead. So I'm going to revive the women's range. That's why I named it Revival.
Yeah.
I was I'm going to lift this thing up from the ground.
You're so dramatic.
Yeah, it was very dramatic, but that's how, I was just, kicking the dirt. I'm going to sell 3,
Why even go back to do more after 3 bras?
I don't know. I guess that's like, I don't know why I would go back to making more women's when it didn't do well, but maybe over time, maybe I sold 3 bras on day 1, but over time we sold a few more, but it's not like I sold out of them. I guarantee you that didn't do that. So I think I just wanted to give it another go. And when we got the Revival legging, I remember Gabby was the first person that kind of like reviewed them on YouTube. And that YouTube review started like gaining some good views. And so I reached out to her. We started and she had some comments like about, the gusset and things like that, I remember DMing her and like, communicating with her, how can I make these better? How can I make this better? And I was like taking that feedback and working on them. But then after the Revival sort of started gaining traction and we started doing like updates on them, like, hey guys, we heard you, we removed the front seam, or hey guys, we heard you, we made the gussets where you're not going to have camel toe now. Like, look, we fixed it. That same transparency that started the brand of like, hey, I'm going to own it and come out and tell everyone like, this is my brand. I'm, doing this. That same transparency with the adjustments and fit changes led to Revival really taking Alphalete from like here to like here. So all of a sudden we were almost a 50-50 split of men and women's sales, which was wild, but that happened quick. And once Gabby came on, we got Caroline, we got a lot of these people to wear them and that genuinely love them. And so that kind of, led us into the YouTube review kind of era. So I really think it was just not wanting to give up on women's. I was stubborn, bro, you know?
I feel like a lot of success also comes out of stubbornness, just pushing through a dark period.
Yeah.
You were starting to sign influencers before that was a thing. Some people credit you as the first gym influencer too. What made you think to sign people to your company?
I'm not going to take credit for signing people because before, I was signed to Gymshark.
Mm-hmm.
I was signed to Cellucor, I guess. But there were, in 2012, there were ambassador programs and things like that. It wasn't as if you asked a group of high school kids, what do you want to be in 5 years? Nobody would say influencer or anything like nowadays. But back then there were brands like having athletes and Greg Plitt was with Metrics, or Jay Cutler was with Muscle Tech, or Ronnie Coleman was with whoever. There were those high level athlete
brand
people,
sponsorships.
that would have brand sponsorships, just like LeBron and Nike or whatever. But there wasn't really. I will say, even when I was on Gymshark, I felt like I didn't belong because I wasn't a super shredded. I wasn't like the guys that you see in the body power pictures and stuff. But they gave me a shot, and I feel like I kind of wanted to give people shots that weren't necessarily super, super aesthetic. Maybe they just had good reviews, or maybe they were, just people that more everyday kind of people that were connecting with their audience. And at that time I knew the value of YouTube, because I knew that, man, if people vlog, if people are sharing their life and connecting with their community, then if they're anything like what my channel is, it should work. If my followers follow me and they're supporting the brand, maybe if this person likes these leggings or this person likes this core t-shirt, then maybe they'll support also, so we can kind of build this bigger thing.
Right.
We kind of slowly built out the team. The first few years I was super selective of who I would send packages to. I would literally lay out all the clothes. If we had a launch of 20 items, I would on the ground lay out all the 20 items and stack. So this would be the Aspire t-shirt and all the colors. Here would be the legging and all the colors. I would send a picture, or I get super zoomed out and get a whole pic. Be mark out what you want on this picture and send it back to me, and then text me your size and address. There was no system. It was
Right.
No, I'll text you photos, tell me which colors you want and sizes. I'm gonna go hand pack your order, and I'm gonna ship it to you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna hype this up.
Right.
So that kind of slowly built like that, and to this day, we're still very selective with who we pick. We're still, it's pretty much the same process, just way more effective now.
Right. Is there anything you miss out of those early days of influencing?
I think people were more, I think people are turned off from trying YouTube now. I feel like they're more turned off now to try YouTube than they were before. Keep in mind that we didn't have short form back then. It was really, there was one place to go to learn more about fitness if you didn't want to read magazines or the tablet, whatever. It was
Right.
let me go on YouTube, and I'm gonna watch this group of people. Right. So, but now, there's so many platforms, so many quick clips that you can get and extract content, or no, you can extract information from. So it's a different environment now. But I think that I do miss that it was a lot simpler in the fact of I'm just gonna focus on YouTube.
Right.
And maybe a few posts on Instagram.
Right. Did you ever feel even with early on, Yuki Lovato, Matt Ogus, do you feel it was more of a close-knit community too of influencers? Whereas now it's such a worldwide network that they could be.
Yeah, I 100% think that back then the communities and the niches were much tighter. You kind of knew everybody in the niche. Now it's definitely huge. But at the same time, when I think about fitness YouTubers that are active right now, it ain't that many people.
That's true.
Again, because people are too scared to try. It's guys, get your shit together and try YouTube. I promise you, I'm the poster child of it working out. It will work out if you just stick to it.
Yeah.
And when I say that, it's I just remember so vividly me having between 14,000 and 20,000 subscribers and making enough money for me to leave school, confidently know I'm going to be able to sustain myself like back then.
Yeah.
So you don't need a ton of followers to be able to like see success. You don't need 1 million followers.
Yeah.
You just need to connect with the ones you got.
Yeah.
And I still preach that all the time.
100%. All right, chapter 2, finishing off. Tell me about Amplify.
Amplify. So when Amplify came about, it came about because there used to be like these really aggressively like scrunched up leggings that were like just a lot of scrunch on the butt. And they were almost like a Brazilian like kind of legging. You would always see them. I would see them at expos and stuff.
Kinda.
Yeah, you'd see them at expos, and it was just really kind of like gaudy or like textured leggings that had scrunch, or like they had like little glute pockets on the butt. And I just remember like seeing those and being like, that's an interesting concept. Like to have a scrunch, but how can we create something like that but subtle, a subtle scrunch? So that's when we went to work with that same person who like brought over that suitcase and stuff like that. I used those for reference pics. I was like, I want something like this, but like 80% toned down. And so literally probably 20 samples later, it would be like, here's option 1, here's option 2, here's option 3. And it'd be like, okay, F option 1, F option 4, but I want to see 2 and 3 again, but make these adjustments. And I remember one day there was a red pair of samples that came in. And when my assistant had put them on, who's also like the fit model, right, for samples, she did the women's and I would do the men's, and we'd look at them together. But when she put them on, I was like, that's it. That's fucking it. That's the legging. That's it. We just had a huge success with the revival, but this one, that's going to be the banger. Nobody's doing this. Holy shit. And I was like, Alphalete. I need a name. Alphalete. And I let Summer Shredding, SS, alliteration, right? I was like, Alphalete, Amplify, Alphalete, Amplify. Alliteration never fails, bro. And that name comboed with the wow factor of like that subtle scrunch completely took Alphalete to a whole new dimension.
Right. Did you know at that moment that it was going to have that effect?
I did not know at that moment that it would have that effect, but I did know that I created a legging that was like really good. Yeah. A legging that made every other legging that was out at the moment, it just made the women's body look better. It made glutes look better. It made like anyone who tried them on, the red sample I had, were like, holy shit, my butt doesn't look like this. And I'd be like, that reaction is what's gonna do well. Yeah. And so I remember we sold, like, as soon as they launched.
How did you launch them? How did you
We
market
launched them we launched them Black Friday 2021, I believe.
2021?
Yeah.
I feel like it was way longer.
Maybe 2020.
Okay.
But I was already at Alphalete working and they launched. We shot Ashley Flores in them.
Wow.
Yeah, so it wasn't that long ago, bro.
Wow.
I know.
Feels like it was a long time ago.
God, it feels like forever ago because all these fucking companies have duped it off.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, don't get me going.
Now tell me. How do you feel about...
How I feel about the dupes and everybody ripping off Amplify, you won't get it out of me because all I got to do is put my head down and create something better and create the next big thing. And I can confidently say that we've fucking done that. So wait for 2025 because this is going to be Alphalete's damn year that we're coming back with the vengeance.
Yeah.
Starting off with the Revive legging, I really feel like the technology we've done to lift the butt, it's like, got it. We nailed the scrunch. What's next? Let's make, right. So we opened up the waistband, made it more comfortable, added the butt lift. So underneath the glute, we have like this like woven knit that's going to actually like act as a really subtle like lift. So now you're getting the scrunch and you're getting the lift and you're getting more comfort on the waistband.
It's crazy.
And then we have something else coming this year, which I'm not going to say, but that's going to be the top thing we've ever created. And I think it's going to be the biggest product that ever. And I think now that knowing what I know now, getting the marketing plan ahead of time and attacking it head on is just going to be like, everyone's going to get, like, I'm so pumped, bro.
Yeah.
For where we're going.
I was going to ask you, 100 years from now when people think of Alphalete, you think it was going to be, 100 years from now when people think of Alphalete, do you think it was going to be Amplify? Like that is the thing.
I think that'll be, I think 100 years from now, I think that people that think about Alphalete will remember Amplify because it was the first scrunch. But I think that will also be remembered for more than that in the future because we have more than that coming.
What about men's?
Men's, I want to get back to the reaction that we had with men's the first few years. Now, keep in mind, I was getting, at that time, 2016, 2017, 2018, my YouTube channel was like booming. 300, 350, 400,000 views a video, right? So it's hard to be like, was it really my men's products that were so good, or was it the fact that I had such a loyal, really strong following at that time, right? And I know right now that the simplicity of those designs and the care about the fit, the materials, like those silhouettes, that's what we need to get back to, but we're going to be able to elevate it. So now, and like do it so much more intricately and better product, better value. But with men, I really want men to remember the messaging more than anything, I feel like. Because to me, it's like, because I'm so tied to the messaging, it was originally the CG Fitness messaging. It's like, I want to take that like energy and kind of direction, and when people think of Alphalete, I want them to remember like the hunger, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to be able to attack my goals. I'm going to be able to do more and become more. Like, that's really what I want the men to remember. I don't think men are going to, they love our, core tees and they love these items, but I don't think any item is going to have that crazy impact. I think it's going to be more so like, what does the brand mean to those people and what does it resemble? Like when you see another guy wearing Alphalete, like I want you to be like, feel like, you want to go say what's up.
You're part of the same journey.
You're part of the same group. You know what I mean? Community. I think that the community is overarchingly the most important thing, but I think women are more attracted to product that they really love.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
100%. It's huge. I was going to ask what do you think was the number one men's item, but I think you just answered that right there. It's more about the messaging, the community, and intention behind it. All right, Amplify exploded. You toured the world.
Yeah.
What was that like? And what was your favorite? Like, what's like your, if you think about it, like highlights, like what stands out from that moment?
Highlights for me when I think about traveling with Alphalete would be two things. Number one, New York. We did a world tour where literally, bro, like if we try to do this nowadays, I don't know. I didn't know any better. So we just would post, hey guys, we're going to be in Amsterdam at this park. Here's going to be our location. Show up. That's it. Like, and even we did New York, we did Amsterdam, we did Dublin, we did, where else did we do? We did like 5 spots, just back to back to back, flight. I don't know how we pulled it off, but I just remember getting to New York and getting out of the Uber to go to Washington Square where our next meetup was posted, and literally just like seeing this wave of people already waiting start running towards me and the athletes because they saw that we got out of the Uber. Yeah. And it was just the most insane feeling I'd ever felt in my life. Like, bro, like everywhere my eyes looked were people running this direction. And I just remember like, that was the most impactful moment, I think. That was because we weren't like, it's not like we were in Houston. We weren't like at a gym opening. We were in New York. Like, I mean, I had never been to New York really, maybe once when I was a kid or something, but not like, we don't I didn't think we had a big presence in New York, but that was just such a holy shit moment. The second one would be when we went to London with the athletes. That's actually the same time we dropped the R6 Revival, which was like the best iteration of them all, in like yellow, purple, formula red, bright blue. And I remember doing the photo shoots. We did a London event where we rented out this like place. We had all these big pictures of the athletes. We were on stage. We had a massive line. It was a full ass day of just like getting to meet people. And those two are probably the ones that stick out most because, again, like London, it's different like when you go to Body Power, because we went to Body Power in 2016 or 17. It's different when you go to an expo where there's already a dense population of your demographic in a spot. But
Safe.
it's very different when you just like go to somewhere random and you're able to like have that kind of impact, you know, and that kind of turnout.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes me super excited for this year and the event we have planned for this year. And like bringing Ashley Flores on, she's been a part of the team since Amplify dropped. Like, and I think that she's going to really be able to, it's not like we've been missing out on events big time. Ever since Alphalete opened, I've gotten kind of comfortable with, and I'd never meant to, but it's like, fuck, I just burnt myself out. Like, we just built this like location. Let's kind of chill out for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And this year we picked that back up to where we're going to start showing our face more and getting out in the community, both for events and for like general helping community out in certain areas and things like that, and giving our time up and, you know, choosing where we want to help and showing that we care more like we used to, you know. Right. And I'm excited to bring that back because we kind of lost that a little bit over the last few years. It's like a limb that's missing. Yeah, and it's almost like I got so in the trenches that I forgot, like, not that I forgot, but it's, I've just been drowning up until like this year with staffing, with trying to hold everything afloat. Finally hiring a design team, like hiring big role, like first ever C-suite employees. Just today you got the text that, hey, we finally have HR in house. Like so much has been over the last 3-4 years has been me like really, really pushing at an insanely high level just to keep things operating, and not to mention Alpha and some shredding in 3D. But now I feel for the first time in 4 years that we have this community feeling, and we have the attention and the bandwidth to do it again and better.
Yeah, we're equipped now. Yeah. Knowing what you just said in the trenches for the last 4 years and the toll it's taken on you, would you do it all over again?
I would do it all over again. It's wild to say because I'm just now feeling healthy. I'm just now getting back to my normal self. Like people can see it, bro. My comments can see it. People that have been supporting me for years have seen the different phases I've gone through. My body screams it. Even though I'll tell you I'm always feeling fine, like you'll see when I'm not okay. And you'll see when I'm doing better. You'll see when I'm sleeping. You'll see when I'm not sleeping. You'll see when I'm really going through it. And I think people now can see I'm in a different phase, and it's solely because I was willing to sacrifice to get. I mean, I kind of like let my body. Whatever I have to fucking do. I have these big, and I don't know. I've just evolved a lot in the last 2 years, man. A lot.
I've seen it, bro.
A lot, and it's really like the hires, though. I mean, it's really being sure like you can investing into. There's always rotating employees. There are always situations to deal with, but I guess over the last few years realizing that if everything goes away, this shit ain't going away. Like I'll still be able to, like if I lose this person or that person, it's like, hey, I did all this shit by myself at one point. It's doable. You know what I mean? And I was not nearly as stressed as with when I have 150 employees.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is way too fucking much. And that's what I'm learning. It's like more is not always better. And that was a big like 4-year time period that I had to learn that the hard way.
Right.
More, even though if sales are going to this and going that, more people is not the solution. Especially if you don't have like delegation and people that can actually manage and direct groups of people. Then it's just you're overloading people. No one knows what they're doing. It's a big waste of time, huge waste of money, resources, and everything.
Right. Hall of Fame Alphalete. Who would you say are the top 5 to 10 people, not including your family, not including Heidi, that had the biggest impact on Alphalete or you? As a person, it could be previous employees, it could be friends, it could be anything.
Not including family or Heidi. I'm going to say Nabil.
Huge.
I'm going to say Kirby and Justin. Huge. For so many years. I'm going to say Gabby, because that first, we really like worked through a lot of kinks and with the legging, and it was like kind of like surface. I don't know. Now looking back, it doesn't seem like so much, but like that one review that I came across was the first big review I ever came across. And
it was everything at the time.
That kicked off so much and opened so many doors. I'm going to say it's also tough because like one thing that you learn, and it's making me think of a lot right now, is, there's different eras of Alphalete, and there's always like very important people in those eras that I love so much and appreciate so much, but not everybody always grows with just the changes that naturally come with growth, the change, and sometimes adapting to like new teams or new infrastructure or new rule, or you lose people, man. You lose a lot of people that you become very, very, very close with. And that's definitely like I think the hardest thing for me doing and being, and just like having the company, is seeing and getting so close to people that you, in a given time period, I mean, they are that go-to, right? But I've seen evolution of the staff and evolution of main characters and stuff like that aren't necessarily here anymore. And it feels kind of weird, like bringing them up, and stuff like that, just because of a lot of stuff. But it is wild. Like, I don't know. I think that if they're listening, I hope you know who it is and or who you are. But you've had major impact. It feels almost weird, like bringing them up now and stuff when we're just like light years in a different space.
100%.
You know what I mean?
But
that's definitely like I'm such a loyal person that it really, really it's tough, man. That's the toughest part about the job.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's like growing beyond people.
Growing beyond people. And I don't know, it sounds almost like heartless, but there's been many times where I cling on to things for too long, and that trickles into negatively affecting the company in so many other ways, when I have to get better at separating business and what's best for the company while still keeping like morals and being honest and transparent with things that are slowing it down and making us go in the opposite direction. Right. Like if you have a negative egg, it really does spread so quickly. And it's just over the last like few years, I've really seen like when you get, I don't know, I'm sure that answer is going to change in a few years, but I feel I've never put so much attention and time into hiring people that I can manage. And that's the thing. It's not just like being a good employee. It's learning how to manage other employees. It's learning how to effectively like let them rely on you, and they know how to get employees to make themselves more accountable and become people that like they need to learn from. Because when I'm so high level and like all over the place, I'm doing this, right? I need to go travel for 3D or this or that. I'm not a good manager, bro. I'm not a good manager because I'm not consistent with them, right? So it's almost like for so long, we would just bring people on that were so good at their jobs, or at their roles and the tasks and everything. But anytime I would try to build a team under them, or like, that's where things would start to not really work out. Like, I mean, they really need to like build some courses in school and to like of how team to manage leaders. And how to build like, reliable teams and communicate and report to each other and like keep you updated with progress and deadline. Because like there's none of that. Right. It's like, okay, you're gonna have an 8-person team. How the hell do I keep them on track? Right. You know what I mean?
It's almost like the worse the manager you are, the stronger managers you need underneath you.
Exactly. The worse manager I am, the stronger management I need under me. And that's 100% true.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing that you said that has stuck with me a lot was hire slowly, fire quickly.
Yeah. Hire slowly, fire quickly. I'm not so good at that.
Is that something you still agree with?
I mean, yeah, I do agree that. Yeah, I agree. If you need to fire, I mean, yeah, But then you're like, have they really gotten their second strike? You know, have I properly communicated effectively of what I need to see from them? And that's where I think I struggle with, is that I know I'm not a good manager. I know I'm not as consistent because I'm trying to do my content. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do that. Trying to keep the gym going. So it's almost, I always use that as a crutch. Like, I can't let them go, that person go, because I haven't been clear enough of what to expect.
So you blame yourself.
I've been too, but I also think it's like common sense. Hey, this person did that. What the fuck? Like,
Right.
you know, but in my head, I'm like, yeah, but did I really tell them they couldn't do that? I'm kind of like that type, where like,
Right.
I always will blame myself or find a way to blame myself, which I'm sure has good thing, you know, that's a good thing, but also a bad thing. So I'm just trying to get better at that. But really the way for me to get better at that is to put people in charge of the, you know, more hiring and stuff like that, to where like I'm almost a little bit more detached, so I can truly do like what I'm best at.
What are you best at?
I'm most effective when I am in and out on checking in with, like, for example, like women's design on every 2 to 3 weeks, we're checking in, I'm getting updated, I'm spitting my ideas. They have time to go execute it, where I'm not breathing down the neck every day, and I'm able to hit checkpoints. But where I'm really focusing my energy on would be content, would be on YouTube, would be on, honestly, like on my fitness. And when I'm actively doing that, and I just feel like the energy about me is very different versus when I get really caught up in the details and the trenches in this, like I'll drive myself crazy, bro.
I would say once you're in a meeting with accounting and lawyers or whatever versus when you've been creating for a day, it's two different Christians.
Yeah.
Completely.
I love creating. I love content. I love ideas. And I used to really, really enjoy, like, I still do really enjoy clothing design, but it's now I know I have so many more resources of more talented people around me that I can just be sure I'm leading the direction of it, and like little details, like I'm still checking in, but I don't have to go A to Z with it. You know what I mean? And it's really like, that's been such, bro. I used to do 3 to 4 hours of sample fittings every probably 4 days a week. And then just for the fittings, then I would go and literally do the same exact fitting. I'd call another size small girl to come and do another fitting, because I didn't trust. I was like, okay, I got the first girl. I need 3 different girls to do all these fittings, and I'm going to take all the notes myself. I'm going to get the summary of all these girls, and I'm going to create the next step, and then I'm going to communicate it overnight to the factory.
Yeah.
That's where I really burned myself out from 2020 to 2024, was like when I fully just took that on. And now it's like I'm able to sit in for once every 2 or 3 weeks for a few hours and have those details like handled, because I can just say them there. I don't have to take the time to really, really dig in and, you know, do the manual work and extra investigating to find the issues. I trust these people, you know, because I'll know if it didn't happen. Because next time in 3 weeks, if I see it and it's not fixed, like, okay, what's the issue here?
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, 100%. Makes sense. All right, kind of wrapping this up. 5-10 years from now, where do you see Alphalete? In your perfect scenario, what's Alphalete look like? What's your role in Alphalete as well?
5 years from now, I see Alphalete, honestly, in a very similar structure to where we are now. I think that 5 years ago, I would have said, I want to be $1 billion brand. What I've learned is that, especially over the last few years, is that I care more about, and I'm finding this out like through little things that keep happening, like how much pride I feel in keeping everything in-house, how much pride I feel like really developing products that I think are pushing the limit. I think I've really learned that more is not always better. I think that more people is not always better. More athletes is not always better. More influencers, more volume, more inventory, more warehouse square footage that you're taking up. I used to like want to be in 100,000 square foot warehouse just to say like, hey, this is our fucking, look how big we are.
Yeah.
You know, I really wanted to like, this is how big we are. Look what we're doing. But then I've realized in the last few years, like how that can take a turn for the worse, right? How that can become
a curse.
It's not, yeah, it's like it can become a curse. Like you're literally trying to like almost like when you start buying designer stuff, you start like really like trying to put the front like you're doing it well. And even if you're on the trajectory to do it, if something goes wrong, it's such a high. So I just want to get everything nice and tight. I want to be able to restock things. I want to be able to sell through higher percents of things. I want to not get so overly confident in like, we're going to always just boom, do this and this and this. Because reality is, that's when you lose focus on the core of the brand. And for the core of the brand, it's going to be focusing on community, which we've completely neglected for the last few years, focusing in on our product, focusing in on our messaging, which I think that this year also, it's like we have a whole mission to rebrand and to really make it known again. Like, let's get the mic again. Let's get in front of everything and say, who are we and what are we doing? What is our mission? I want to get crystal clear on those things, regardless of if we are here, that, you know, in this revenue or this revenue or this revenue. It's like, let's nail that down first. Let's be sure we're being responsible with the spending, and let's make the product, make the team tight knit. Like, that's really what I want to do, and I think that we're on the right path.
Be nimble.
Yeah, being
Act
nimble.
like a startup.
Yeah.
On that though, with clothing, there's only so many ways you can do a legging, a performance tee. Would you ever stop designing new items and just double down on the efficiency of the things you stand behind? I think that one day there will be a point where we are, say, like 20 to 30% of the brand is really innovating like some fresh product and trying this. But at a certain point, we are going to have our core like collections built out to where, in the past, I've always said, oh, with Alphalete, we're only going to launch stuff once. We're only going to do this once. And it's almost like shot us in the foot, because it's almost caused our customer to feel that and expect that. And so if we eventually like get to the point where we're really honing in on styles and restocks and new colorways and things like that, I mean, that's a business model that I would love to transition to, but we got to keep excitement. So I think there's always going to be, you know, a few drops a year of new stuff that we're pushing the envelope with. But I want people that have been looking for the fitted core tees and this to be able to reliably know that we have that at all times in options that are fresh. Instead of just like, hey, I love that item from 2018. You ever going to bring anything like that back again? Because then you're almost like teasing them with something they like, then never bringing it back. Teasing them, then never bringing it back. So I think there's ways to improve on the consistency within the brand. Yeah. It's almost like the Alphalete consistency of product has reflected my consistency on my YouTube the last 12 years, which is like, sometimes I'm going all in, sometimes I go MIA, sometimes we're this, sometimes we're that. And it's always kind of been based off, when we started Alphalete, it was meant to be launch, sell out, launch, sell out, launch, kind of Yeezy drop model, you know what I mean? And I think that there's a new way to do it now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're also a never-ending cycle of R&D, which is expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, creating 240 new items every 8 weeks is not very sustainable.
It's crazy. Yeah. Last question. On a personal note, what does success look like to you at the end of your life, looking back? What one thing do you look to have happened for you to be like, I succeeded at this?
It's weird because I consider myself successful now. I consider myself successful 2 years ago. I considered myself successful 10 years ago when I was making money coaching. Yeah. And before I even had the brand. So I think that I find enjoyment. We need to find enjoyment in improvement. And I feel like I'm chasing improvement. I'm chasing creating something bigger, better, and more refined. You know what I mean? So to me, as long as I can, in the future, in 5 or 10 years, look back and be like, I'm still in the same attitude. I've still got the same mindset. Still hungry for improvement, then I'll be happy. I think the second you're not, that's when you're like, it's like, what am I going to do then? You know what I mean? But there's always something to improve. There's always ways to make, for me, like this brand and everything this brand attaches to, better. Like, it's not just the clothing brand Alphalete, but it's like it ties into the gym and this community in Houston, these multiple thousand members that we have, like, and the Summer Shredding Championship. And there's just so much that it all like connects to. And what's exciting to me is the fact that really Alphalete is a baby fish right now. It's a baby fish in the sea. And though like growth revenue wise and stuff is not like my primary mover at all anymore, it used to be. I wanted to get that 100 million, bro. I wanted that $100 million like revenue so I could put it on my belt and be like, look, I did it, right? And once we hit that, it's like, okay, then you uncover all these issues of like, oh, we got here, but at what cost, right? And so now it's like to rebuild up to that and further up, I want to do it in a way that taking everything that I've learned, the mistakes I've made, the money I've lost, the money I've thrown away, and do it differently to have it be sustainable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like use those negatives as your positives.
Yeah. And I just know that if the world, like when we come, one, Amplify, but two, when we come out with these new items and things like that, that I know the everyday population would absolutely lose their minds about. Like we're still barely tapping a fitness niche. Yeah. Imagine if we can get into the real world. Mainstream. Just imagine, like, and that's where things kind of get exciting. It's like, and I always revert back to like my goal with my content, like screw Alphalete for a second. My main goal with my content is to help as many people like become better, get in better shape, understand what they're eating, understand how to change their bodies for the better, like as I can. And I know I'm only 78K into it, you know what I mean, with my subscribers. That's nothing. That means I have so much more to give to so many more people, just like there's so much more for Alphalete to give in the pieces in the brand that we're going to deliver to people, to give them some motivation. So when they look in the mirror, they'll be like, oh shit, I look pretty fucking good. This shirt makes me look good. Hey, look, I'm getting some progress in the gym. My butt looks good in this legging. My arms look good in this shirt. Like that little confidence right there. Those moments are like what I need to hone in on.
So would you say that to mirror your idea of success of staying hungry, knowing that there is always something to improve on, Alphalete success would be instilling that into customers with leggings, with a shirt, just knowing that there is an avenue to improve.
Yep.
That's sick.
Dope. And with that, I guess that's the end of this video.
End of the decade, bro.
End of the decade, bro. I'm gonna be 41
Next one.
at the 20-year mark.
I'll see you at the Sable.
Oh wait, actually, it was just my birthday. If they're watching this video, I'm 32.
Oh shit!
I turned 32 on Thursday.
This Thursday?
Yeah, bro. 2 days. Yeah.
It's crazy.
What'd you get me? Thank y'all so much for watching. Wow, 10 years in the books. Cheers to the next 10.